fall of 1988, Batman would suffer one of the most tragic and darkest failures of his career. The Joker would murder Batman's partner, Robin, aka Jason Todd, in an absolute brutal fashion. But he didn't do it alone. His co-conspirators to this dastardly deed was the readers, us. Thanks to a new phone idea DC wanted to try out with the fans, the Joker killed Robin, and we voted for him to die. In this special edition of Tony's Comic Spotlight, we're going to talk about the storyline that shocked readers and is considered by many to be one of the best Batman stories ever written. In this episode, we shine the spotlight on Batman, A Death in the Family, featured in the pages of Batman issues 426 to 429 from 1988. Chapter 1. Batman and Robin stake out the warehouse of a child pornography ring awaiting police backup, but Robin rushes in early against Batman's orders while stopping the criminals. Batman mentally notes Robin's odd, moody behavior of late. After chiding Robin, Bruce returns home to discuss the situation with Alfred and decides to remove his ward from duty, effective immediately. Jason overhears and angrily leaves. Batman is soon called to Arkham Asylum after the Joker escapes. Commissioner Gordon tells the Dark Knight how the Joker used cleaning supplies to make his lethal laughing gas, killing 8 men. At his hideout, the Joker tells his associate Rupert how his assets were seized during his incarceration, but reveals a cruise missile and launch vehicle in storage he obtained from a military contact. The Clown Prince of Crime decides to sell the weapon to Arab terrorists. While walking through Gotham City, Jason Todd ends up in Crime Alley and visits his mother's friend, Mrs. Walker. She gives Jason a box full of personal effects, which are a little water damaged, but sends the boy on his way. At that moment, Batman surprises Gasper Taylor, a known associate of the Joker, but knocks him out before he can obtain any information. Searching the criminal's luggage, Batman finds a passport and visa for Lebanon. Over the next few hours, none of the Joker's former henchmen can be found. While perusing his parents' personal effects, Jason finds his birth certificate with his mother's name blotted out, and beginning with the letter S, realizing Catherine Todd was his stepmother. Jason searches the box where he finds his father's now out-of-date address book, which contains the names of 3 women whose names start with S, one of whom might be his biological mother, and uses the Bat computer to locate them. He leaves Wayne Manor to begin his investigation. In the air, the Joker and his gang are en route to Lebanon aboard a stolen Navy C-130 cargo plane, while Jason Todd is aboard an airliner. Meanwhile, Batman finds the Joker's hideout and realizes his arch foe has left for Lebanon with a nuclear weapon to replenish his cash flow. Our hero quickly returns to the Batcave, where Alfred informs him that Jason has run away. Batman is left with a dilemma: stay in Gotham City and locate Jason, or stop the Joker. Later, Batman leads a team of naval commandos to Lebanon to recover the stolen C-130 and discovers that the Joker has indeed smuggled a nuclear device into the Middle Eastern nation. Changing out of his costume, Bruce Wayne contacts Alfred and learns Jason booked a flight to Israel. In Israel, Robin breaks into a military base to find the whereabouts of Charmin Rosen, an intelligence agent who may be his mother. Using computer records, he learns Rosen is working undercover in Beirut, Lebanon. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne arrives in Lebanon and goes into action as Batman to gain information from some terrorists about the missile. He learns that a man named Peter Brando is offering the weapon for sale at the Hotel Blue, where Charmin Rosen is staying. Jason arrives at the Hotel Blue and finds Bruce. Jason tells Bruce about his investigation, but becomes downtrodden when told of Bruce's mission to stop the Joker. Suddenly they spot Brando with Rosen and follow in a pair of jet-powered bat gliders. The Cape Crusaders witness the Joker's sale of a smuggled cruise missile to Jamal, a terrorist who wants to launch the missile at Tel Aviv. The gathering is interrupted by Batman and Robin, who are soon joined by Charmin Rosen. When the missile is fired, it explodes in its launcher, but the warhead fails to detonate. The Joker escapes in the ensuing confusion. Robin learns Rosen is not his mother, and the three return to Beirut. Robin insists on finding his mother, and Batman agrees to help. However, a disguised Joker books a flight to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Chapter 3. On the trail of Shiva Woosan, Bruce and Jason learned the mercenary was kidnapped moments before their arrival. Soon afterward, Batman and Robin shake down a number of Lebanese criminals and learn that Woosan was taken to the Parsha Pass in the Bekaa Valley. In a family relief camp just outside of Magdala, Ethiopia, the Joker blackmails Dr. Sheila Haywood for shipments of medical supplies. Meanwhile, Batman and Robin infiltrate a terrorist camp only to learn Shiva Woosan is none other than Lady Shiva. Lady Shiva battles Batman to a standstill, and she is only defeated thanks to Robin's assistance. As Robin cuffs the renegade martial artist, Batman sabotages the terrorist explosive cache. After trekking through the desert for a while, Batman interrogates Lady Shiva and learns she never had any children. The dynamic duo depart for Ethiopia. Chapter 4. Bruce and Jason arrive at the camp outside of Magdala and meet Dr. Sheila Haywood, where mother and son are reunited. Soon the Joker arrives and he takes Haywood to the central warehouse to steal the medical supplies. Jason follows on a stolen motorcycle. As supplies are unloaded, the Joker has boxes of his lethal laughing gas loaded in their place. Jason returns to the camp to enlist Bruce's aid, and soon the Dark Knight chases the trucks carrying the gas in a minicopter. Meanwhile, Jason returns to the warehouse and reveals his identity as Robin to his mother. Entering the warehouse, Haywood turns Robin over to the Joker, who had never left. Robin is outnumbered by Joker and his thugs, and his most desperate efforts to fight them off are futile. After landing a punch to the Joker, the madman picks up a crowbar and proceeds to beat Robin, brutally smashing the crowbar against the boy. Sheila can barely witness the scene, and Joker finds delight in doing something he had wanted to do for many years. After his minicopter is shot down by soldiers, Batman is recognized by the truck drivers. He warns them of the deadly cargo they are carrying, telling them to unload the boxes and leave them to be dealt with by the army, and is allowed to use the truck to get back to the warehouse. Meanwhile, the Joker betrays Haywood and has bound her in the warehouse next to her injured son, where he's placed a bomb. Unable to deactivate the bomb, Jason instead unties his mother. Attempting to escape, Haywood discovers that the door is locked. The bomb then detonates, and the helpless Batman witnesses the explosion from outside the warehouse. Chapter 5. After the explosion, Batman searches among the ashes and rubble of the warehouse where Robin was supposed to be along with his real mother, Sheila Haywood. Batman has arrived too late to prevent the bomb from exploding, and now the only thing he has left is hope. Batman remembers how he met Jason when the kid was trying to steal the wheels of the Batmobile, and almost managed to if not for Batman's arrival. After learning that Jason was an orphan, Batman took him in and revealed all of his secrets to him, hoping to replace Dick Grayson as the new Robin. Batman trained him, and soon they were fighting crime as the dynamic duo, but Bruce noticed a difference between Dick and Jason. While Dick was very talented and natural when fighting crime, Jason was full of repressed anger, and he had a rebellious nature. Jason's attitude would put him and Batman in danger on many occasions, leading to Batman placing him on inactive duty. During this time, Jason found evidence that his real mother was still alive, and so Batman and Jason traveled to Lebanon to find her. After searching for a while, Batman finds Sheila near death. She tells Batman what happened with the Joker, and before dying, she regrets her actions, but is proud of Jason. She dies in Batman's arms, and the Dark Knight keeps searching for Jason. Moments later, Batman finds Jason's body lying on the ground, and after taking his pulse, he finally realizes that Jason is dead. Batman holds the kid's body in his arms, and sadly, he carries it away. Meanwhile, the Joker makes a deal with the leaders of the Iranian government. Batman removes what little remains of Jason's costume that could have identified him as Robin, and removes the evidence so the authorities won't find anything suspicious and will write off what happened as an accident. Bruce then takes the bodies of Jason and Sheila on his plane back to Gotham City. Before leaving, however, Batman examines the Joker's hideout and finds only the dead bodies of the Joker's own henchmen and a message written on the wall for the Caped Crusader telling him where to meet him. Back in Gotham, only 4 people, namely Bruce, Alfred, James Gordon, and his daughter Barbara, attend the funeral of Jason Todd and Sheila Haywood. And afterwards, Bruce goes to the Batcave and looks for the address the Joker left him, and it turns out that the clown wants to meet Batman at the United Nations building in New York City. Batman is waiting for the Joker to show up when out of nowhere Superman appears and tries to persuade Batman to leave the place in order to prevent an international incident. Batman doesn't understand Superman and punches him in the face, fortunately only bruising his knuckles. Superman tries to explain better, but at that moment the Joker arrives and reveals that he is the new ambassador of the Iranian government to the UN, and thus he can't be punished by any of his past crimes due to the diplomatic immunity granted to any ambassador. Batman watches in disbelief as his greatest foe stands in front of him, mocking him after killing Jason. Chapter 6. Ralph Bundy explains the situation to Batman. As the Joker has become the new ambassador for Iran to the UN, he now has diplomatic immunity and no one is allowed to touch him. And to make sure that Batman doesn't create an international incident, the US government has called in Superman to make sure that Batman is under control. After Bundy leaves Batman and Superman alone, Clark asks Bruce if Jason was Robin. Batman nods and says yes. He apologizes for Jason's passing and says that he was a good man. Batman tells him that the Joker killed him. He asks if he has proof, and he says that he has a deathbed statement from Jason's mother that was proof enough for him. Superman tells him that right now the Joker is immunized from retribution for any crimes that he has committed, and for Batman not to do anything stupid. Batman doesn't like the situation and leaves the place, hoping that his actions don't put him against Superman. At his hotel, Bruce thinks about the situation and contemplates the few options he has left. Bruce thinks about letting the Joker be free for once, but then he remembers that he killed Jason and decides to investigate what is the Joker's real plan. At the Iranian embassy, the Joker prepares himself for his speech the next day, and he mentions something about large dead crowds. Batman surprises the Joker from behind and tells him to give up his plan and return to Arkham Asylum. The Joker tells him that he won't and starts teasing Batman, confessing that he killed Robin and he enjoyed it, which confirms all of Batman's suspicions. Before leaving, Batman thanks the Joker for confirming the information on Robin's death and for making his decision much easier. As Batman leaves, the Joker pulls a gun and tries to shoot Batman, but he has already gone and the Joker is left alone, excited about his plan for the next day. As it is planned, people start to arrive at the United Nations building, and among the crowd is Bruce Wayne, who has been admitted to the General Assembly as an unofficial observer. The Joker, dressed in Arab robes, makes his way into the room, and for a moment he stops and stares at Bruce, long enough for Wayne to wonder if the clown has recognized him beyond the mask. However, seconds later, the Joker continues to the dais, laughing all his way up. The Joker starts speaking in the name of Iran, and after a vehement speech, he reveals his true motives and sprays the room with his lethal laughing gas, and Bruce quickly changes into Batman before one of the guards destroys the Joker's gun and stops the gas from spreading. However, the Joker tells the guard that the gas is already in the air and it's too late to stop it. The guard then starts inhaling all the gas from the room, and it is revealed that the guard is in fact Superman in disguise. The Man of Steel tells Batman to finish the Joker while he finds somewhere safe to release all that toxic gas. The Joker detonates a bomb to open a hole in the wall and tries to escape, while Batman follows him outside where a helicopter is ready to take the Joker away. Batman manages to jump and reaches the chopper before it lifts completely. Climbing inside the cabin of the helicopter, Batman tries to grab the Joker, but his henchmen start shooting at them before realizing that one of the bullets killed the pilot. The Joker and Batman are wounded as well, and before the helicopter crashes into the river and explodes, Batman jumps and dives into the water. Moments later, Superman arrives to pull Batman out of the water. Batman tells Superman to find the Joker's body. However, nobody is able to do so, and Batman realizes that things between him and the Joker always end up one way, unresolved. The end. Postscript by Dennis O'Neil, November 1988. At least a dozen times I've had to protest. We didn't kill the boy wonder, the readers did. It began as a question. We knew that technology for polling our readers by telephone was available, and we asked ourselves if we could use it, in effect, extend our policy of heeding the opinions fans expressed in letters and conversations at comic shops and conventions. If we did, it would be a first, and we didn't want to waste it on anything minor. Whether Firestorm's boots should be red or yellow would not be an appropriate question to ask in this context, particularly since unavoidably each call-in vote would cost the caller 50 cents. This had to be important stuff, life and death, and we couldn't just create a character and then let the audience decide if he survived or perished. Whoever we used had to be someone in whom our readers had an emotional investment, or again, the result would not justify the cost and trouble. Robin was the logical candidate. Not the Robin whose name was Dick Grayson. That Robin had been a part of the DC Universe since 1940, and we knew he was a favorite. Besides, he had left Batman's employ and gone on to be the leader of a very popular group of youthful superdoers called the Teen Titans. Now, the Robin we had in mind was the current version, Jason Todd. Jason had been created about 5 years previously by Jerry Conway and Gene Colan under the editorship of Line Win, and when the company decided to revamp its continuity, recreated by Max Allan Collins and Chris Warner. This Robin, Jason, well, we didn't know how people felt about him. Some seemed to like him, and some didn't. Others were suggesting that Batman commemorate his 50th birthday in 1989 by reverting to what he had been when he first appeared, a relentless loner. So we had a character whose popularity was at best uncertain, and we had a telephone experiment we wanted to try. We began a long storyline which culminated in Jason's being caught in an explosion in Batman issue number 427, and at the end of that issue informed readers they could decide Robin's fate by calling one number for his survival, another for his demise. They had just 36 hours to act. From 8 a.m. Eastern Time on September 16th to 8 p.m. the following evening, I had two versions of Batman issue 428 in the drawer awaiting the verdict. We received 10,614 calls. The final tally 5,271 for, 5,343 against. Hail and farewell, Jason Todd. One of the pro Jason votes was mine. I realized that taking a Robin, any Robin, away from Batman was risky. Some pop culture historians have argued that Robin was a vital ingredient in Batman's half century of popularity, a necessary counterbalance to the essential grimness of the Batman mythos, and I am not sure they were wrong. And any essential alteration to a lengthy series would necessitate much redefinition, much editorial scrambling. I was prepared for long hours at my desk if Jason died. I was emphatically not prepared for the reaction. As soon as the news of Jason's expiration got out, our publicity whiz, Peggy May, began getting calls, dozens of them. For 3 long working days and part of a fourth until Peggy declared a moratorium, I talked to newspapermen, to disc jockeys, to radio and television reporters, here and abroad, again and again. I explained how the voting had worked, how the final decision was not DC's, although, as I write this, in November of 1988, our clipping service has not yet delivered its package. We know that the story appeared in hundreds of newspapers and on as many radio and television broadcasts. I shouldn't have been surprised. I was working at Marvel Comics when the publisher decided to kill off Phoenix, a member of their best-selling X-Men group of magazines, and when Frank Miller wrote the death of his creation Elektra into Daredevil. In both instances, reader reaction was vehement. Sometimes we forget what is usually the most gratifying part of the work we do, the involvement of our audience in our stories. Commentators who have called superhero sagas modern mythology are, I think, mistaken, because mythology involves religion in some form or another. But these sagas are more than just entertainment. At least to many readers, they are the post industrial equivalent of folk tales, and as such they have gone pretty deeply into a lot of psyches. Some would say they should not be compromised because they touch the innocent and wonderful part of us that can wonder, aspire, and be amazed. But like traditional folk tales, they must evolve. If they don't, they may become irrelevant to the real world they mirror, and thus to satisfy and amuse. They risk degenerating into mere curiosities instead of remaining vital fiction. Everybody's heard of Paul Bunyan, but nobody cares about him. So please consider the death of Jason Todd part of an occasionally bumpy process. It is a process, one that no writers or artists have experienced before, because Batman, Superman, and soon Wonder Woman are the only characters in history who have appeared continuously for more than 50 years. We are truly in unknown territory, and we're curious about what happens now. I am quietly, but very fervently, hoping it does not involve another abrupt termination of a boy wonder. Dennis O'Neil, November 1988. I want to take a minute and thank everybody for watching this special edition of Tony's Comic Spotlight featuring Batman, A Death in the Family. If you're enjoying the content, please give a like and subscribe and ring the bell for future notifications. Now, this series is going to be a little different, whereas, the traditional Spotlight, I usually do one issue. But when I do these, and they're going to be sporadically, they're never going to be like a weekly or whatever, I'm going to focus on just story arcs. And I figured for the first one, I'd pick a simple 4-issue one. But later on down the road, I'll probably be doing stuff like Crisis on Infinite Earths, Secret Wars, stuff with like multiple issues. And when I do those special editions, there'll probably be a part 1, part 2, part 3, because I'm gonna keep the videos at like a 4-issue interval, to keep them going. And we'll see how it goes. And I hope y'all enjoyed this one. And coming up next week will be episode 51 of Tony's Comic Spotlight, which will feature Spawn issue number 2. So thank you for everyone for supporting the channel. We officially hit 300 subscribers, so I'll be doing a subscriber giveaway soon. Details on that coming soon. And until next time, everyone, be safe, take care, and God bless. See you.